Good, happy Wednesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, record-breaking cold air mass grips New Hampshire. Granite staters bundle up against cold. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Ashley Home Store's Black Friday mattress sale is going on now. Hurry in today and get $200 rollback savings on
Wow, it's too cold too early.
A lot of Granite Staters probably had similar reactions as they got up Wednesday, and it wasn't just the cold.
If it wasn't for the wind, it would, it'd be pretty decent. But with the wind blowing, it's tough to. I got to keep moving.
The winds making it feel like zero, as students wearing their winter gear made their way to school. Peter Buckjoon reciting the steps he went through to ensure his daughter was ready.
Make sure she's got a sweatshirt on under her jacket. Make sure she's got gloves. Make sure she's got a hat, scarf.
Chris Penn and his daughter were walking to school. Jillian saying that she made sure that she, like the experts recommend, was dressed in layers of warm clothes.
No, because we have to wait out here every morning, so it's hard because, we have to, bundle up and keep ourselves warm together.
The cold also found many Granite Staters making a slight change in their routine when it came to letting their cars warm up.
I did go out a little bit earlier because I heard it was like 21 degrees because I do watch Pam and Skarupa. So I was like, well, I better listen to the news this morning because it's frigid out there.
And at the shelter in Manchester, 5 men had to be turned away, something they had warned might happen back in August.
So we were always going to be concerned that we would hit our cap and need to be able to assure safety in the shelter as far as numbers go, but also assure that individuals are getting their needs met.
The shelter says when they do have to turn someone away, they call emergency services so that person isn't left out in the cold. But this is also a problem they see reoccurring all season long. In Manchester, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Republican Weld filing for New Hampshire primary looks to McCain for inspiration for his insurgent campaign. Former Massachusetts governor says impeachment proceedings could fuel, not hinder, his efforts. Let's take a listen to that video. Sorry about that, we do not have a video. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld said Wednesday at the New Hampshire State House that he's looking back to late Senator John McCain for inspiration for his own insurgent challenge to President Donald Trump for the Republican presidential nomination. The former Massachusetts governor filed to have his name placed on the ballot for the first-in-the-nation primary, flanked by several supporters, including former Executive Councilor Peter Spalding, who chaired McCain's vigorous New Hampshire primary campaigns in 2000 and 2008. After filing for New Hampshire primary, Elizabeth Warren predicts she'll win it. Massachusetts senator doesn't criticize other Democrat candidates after ensuring her name is on first-in-the-nation ballot. On the day she became a formal candidate for president, Elizabeth Warren did not want to criticize Democrats in the presidential race. After filing her name for New Hampshire primary ballot Wednesday, she sidestepped a question about former Vice President Joe Biden's continued criticism of what he calls Warren's elite attitude. She wouldn't talk about the perspective of a candidacy by fellow Massachusetts Democrat Deval Patrick, a former Massachusetts governor who, according to reports, is preparing to get into the race this week. But Warren had a direct answer when asked point blank after filling if she will win the New Hampshire primary, which is expected to be held in February. And her answer was yes. Worcester Fire Department Lieutenant Jason Mendar dies battling 4-alarm blaze. Let's take a listen to this video from WCBB Boston.
We are here to discuss Jesse's online time. 30 minutes. 1 hour with the tablet, and my client will walk the dog. Do the dishes. 1 hour with the tablet, the dog will do the dishes, and we got a deal.
Control your family's online time with Xfinity XFi.
Let's talk about getting our ears pierced.
Switch today.
Good morning, I'm Antoinette Antonio. We are breaking into Good Morning America right now for a news conference on that devastating fire in Worcester. Officials are speaking right now. Let's listen in.
Devastating loss with the death this morning of Fire Lieutenant Jason Menard. At 12:58 a.m., the Worcester Fire Department received a telephone report of a structure fire at 7 Stockholm Street. Additional calls reported a baby trapped on the 3rd floor. First arriving ladder company, Ladder 5, encountered heavy fire conditions on the 2nd floor extending to the 3rd. 4 alarms were quickly transmitted. Lieutenant Menard, along with his crew from Ladder 5, were making heroic efforts to search for a reported trapped resident, along with the baby on the 2nd floor. While gaining entry to the 3rd floor, Ladder 5 became trapped by heavy fire conditions. Lieutenant Menard heroically and selflessly saved his crew, helping a probationary firefighter to the stairs, and then returning to rescue another trapped firefighter, assisting him out the window. Fire conditions overtook the 3rd floor at this time, and Lieutenant Menard was unable to escape. Firefighters on scene made courageous and valiant efforts under heavy fire conditions, complicated by extreme weather, including high winds and cold temperatures, to rescue Lieutenant Menard. Unfortunately, Jason succumbed to his injuries. Lieutenant Menard and 3 other firefighters were transported to UMass Hospital with injuries. 2 have been released, and a 3rd is in serious but stable condition. Jason leaves his wife, Tina, and 3 children. He was a passionate fire officer who absolutely loved being a firefighter. He took his job very seriously, performed it admirably, and his dedication to the residents of Worcester was unwavering. The Worcester Fire Department Fire Investigation Unit, along with the Worcester Police Department and State Fire Marshal's Office, are actively investigating the cause of the fire. We ask that you please respect the privacy of Lieutenant Menard's family during this incredibly trying time. Thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that press conference. And all of us here at the Riley King Network send our thoughts and prayers to the Worcester Fire Department and to Lieutenant Jason Menard's family and friends and colleagues. OSHA investigates LEAP, 3 other companies after deadly Farmington explosion. let's take a listen to that video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
Hey friends, Mark Kelly here. If you're ready for common sense solutions that will make our community safer from
Occupational Safety and Health Administration has opened investigations into 4 companies stemming from that Farmington explosion. The companies are Leap, CN Brown, Cornerstone, and Techno Metal Post. Officials at OSHA tell us that they are looking at whether the companies followed federal health and safety standards. We contacted a Leap spokesman who said the board of directors was not notified of the investigation, but they're not surprised. CN Brown and Cornerstone had no comment, and we could not reach Techno Metal Post.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Wednesday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green, went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the red, went down. S&P 500 closed in the green, went up. Gold closed in the green, went up. Oil closed in the green, went up. U.S. 10-year closed in the red, went down. Euro/USD closed flat, and VAX closed in the green and went up. Dow closes at record high as Disney pops more than 7%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average hit an all-time high on Wednesday as Disney shares popped while investors designated testimony from the top-ranking Federal Reserve official. First public impeachment hearing concludes as Dems GOP tussle over testimony. Let's take a look at this video.
Hey friends, Mark Kelly here. If you're ready for common sense solutions that will make our community safer from gun...
Mr. Chairman, before we hear from the witnesses, I have a parliamentary inquiry.
Gentleman will state her parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Chairman, when can we anticipate a response to our November 9th letter requesting certain individual witnesses to be called?
The gentlewoman should be aware that 3 of the witnesses the minority has requested are scheduled for next week.
Those were your witnesses, Mr. Chairman. What about the additional 6 witnesses? Mr. Chairman, will you be prohibiting witnesses from answering members' questions as you have in the closed-door depositions?
The only times I prevented witnesses from answering questions, along with their counsel, was when it was apparent that members were seeking to out the whistleblower.
Mr. Chairman, only one member and their staff on this committee has direct knowledge of the identity of the whistleblower.
Will suspend.
I'd seek direction to make a motion that we actually subpoena the whistleblower for a closed-door, secret deposition, so that the questions that should be appropriately asked the whistleblower by our side and your side may be asked. And I would prefer that rather than it be your single decision, that the committee speak to that issue rather than just the chairman.
Do you anticipate when we might vote on the ability to have the whistleblower in front of us, something you, the 435 members of Congress, you are the only member who knows who that individual is, and your staff is the only staff of any member of Congress who's had a chance to talk with that individual. We would like that opportunity. When might that happen in this proceeding today?
First, as the gentleman knows, that's a false statement. I do not know the identity of the whistleblower, and I'm determined to make sure that identity is protected.
Okay, and there you go on that video. What some of it looked like inside today. And also, we can tell you that, the testimony in the House first public impeachment hearing has ended with more hearings to come. Taylor and Kent testified for more than 5 hours today. Next up will be former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Maria Yakovich, who was ousted in May on Trump's orders. She will testify on Friday. Next week, the House Intelligence Committee will hear from 8 more witnesses in the impeachment probe. And we will be sure to bring you all this coverage as it all unfolds. And that is it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and I'll be back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye, everyone.